Hello everyone, in this video we will talk about the for each loop, and the name says about itself that the loop iterates over each item in the collection. But before we start, let's review our loops we already covered and the main use cases. I prepared examples for every loop we have already learned, and let's go through them together and look how does it work. So the first example, it's a for loop, and just to refresh our memory, it works the way we declare in the variable. So int I that equals 0, then we declare in the condition until our loop will be executing, and the last line is incrementing our value. So in the for loop we are going just simply print the indexes. And let's move to the while loop. The while loop is executed until the condition is met, as well as the for loop, but the difference is that we can have whatever we want as a condition here. So we don't really need to have something like I less than 10 or some conditions, some evaluations of numbers. We can compare strings, compare objects, arrays, just whatever we want until our condition is not equal true. So while can holds any condition we want, and to show you this I prepared you example where we are going to also iterate over the numbers array, but we are not going to iterate over the whole array which had the length of 10, but we will stop at the value 7, which is, I guess, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the index 4. So here we declare in the while loop with the while keyword, then we put our condition in the parentheses, then we assign in the current number, the special variable I prepared to work with our loop, and also we are assigning the current number with the some value from the array, accessing it with the I, which is 0. Then we print in the message and increment our I not to get the infinite loop. And the last is do while loop, which is different from those two because it has to be executed at least once. And here we have actually the condition which is not valid, like x not equal 5, which is not true because I already declared x as 5, and we print in the line and going out of this loop. So let's just run it and check if it works as we want. Let me just show you the output, and you can see that our for loop iterates all the 10 times or 9 indexes in the bounds of the value I provided here in the parentheses. So it's executed 10 times. The while loop is printed the value 6, then it moves to number 2 because I'm incrementing the I by 1 all the iteration. Then we move into 17, then 4, and then we finally find the value which met our condition, where the current is equals 7 and the loop is not executing. So we can see that while loop is finished at iteration number 5. And what about the do while loop? You can see that it's executed just once inside do while loop body and then finished because condition is not met. And finally, let's move to our for each loop. The for each loop is can be similar in the declaration at the for loop, and to declare it we also have to use the for keyword, open the parentheses, but the difference actually comes in those parentheses. Before we declare it, let's create some array with names, and let's make it like again John, Tom, Mike, Alex, and George. So to use the for loop, we are doing the following. We declaring the variable of type which our collection contains. So if we have collection of the strings, if we have array of the strings, we have to declare the one string, and let's give it name, and then we using the colon and names, curly braces, and here we will have our body. So let's look at this in detail. So the for is the keyword. We tell in the computer we want to declare the loop. In the parentheses we declare in the variable which will contain the value for each iteration from the 0 index until the very last item of the data structure or array. And then, as we already know, we use in the parentheses to execute some operations. So let's just print our name variable, or let's just do it something like current name is plus name, and let's run it. And as you can see, that every item of our array is printed. So the loop goes through the collections from the first item until the last. So what is difference between the for and the for each loop, also known in the programming as we are calling the for loop, like traditional for loop, and the for each loop is a enhanced for loop. The main difference is that the enhanced for loop or for each loop doesn't have the indexes. So if you need to work with the indexes, you should better use the traditional for loop. If you just need to iterate over any collection without accessing specific indexes, you can use the for each loop. There are some other differences, but they are not so significant you have to know about right now. And that's it for today. I see you in the next video, actually in the next course, because this course is finished at this lesson, and I'll prepare the more intermediate course about the Java. It will be interesting, so just subscribe to my channel not to miss new videos about the coding, and see you in the next video.